Yesterday, President Muhammadu Buhari left the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for a private visit in the United Kingdom. He went to the UK after attending an economic forum of the Future Investment Initiative in Riyadh. And on the sideline of that event, President Buhari held a bilateral talks with King Salman and King Abdullah of Jordan. The president also participated in a high-level event titled, "What is Next for Africa? How will investment and trade transform the continent into the next great economic success story?" with presidents of Kenya, Congo, Brazzaville, and Burkina Faso. Tonight, we shall be taking a look at the president's trip to Saudi Arabia and against Mr. Garba Shehu, President's Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, joins us from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It might be of interest to you, if you will, because of the conversation that we had and the fact that your name has been mentioned and the president's name has been mentioned severally in that conversation. If you want to clear the air on the issue of NDDC, did the president approve the steering committee of the NDDC?
The executive powers of the nation are invested in the president. Nobody can exercise those powers without the say-so of Mr. President. So if you are appointed to executive authority, as we have seen in the case of the NDDC, you can't do that without the sanction, without the say-so of Mr. President. So they are exercising the powers of the president under the Constitution by his own mandate.
So is a yes that it was the president that approved the appointment of the steering committee?
Absolutely, it is not in doubt at all. I mean, nobody can enter a public office of that nature without the president saying go.
Okay, so let's begin with the conversation around the trip of the president to Saudi Arabia. First and foremost, I saw the opinion that you wrote about the major takeaways of the president. Because of our time and some of the issues that I'd like to get your views on tonight, what would you refer to as perhaps the biggest gain of President Buhari to Riyadh?
The decision to establish the Nigeria-Saudi Arabia Strategic Council. This is a big council that will be made up of businessmen and government officials who will sit down and agree on investment. The type that the Saudi government says they want to do in Nigeria. They are putting 100 billion in India, 10 billion in Pakistan, 20 billion in Indonesia. And they are saying to President Muhammadu Buhari, we are coming to your country, tell us what are your own priorities. And the president has determined that the Minister of Petroleum, Minister of Trade Investment, and the MD, the NNPC GMD, sit down and itemize these priorities so that Saudis will be confronted with them when they come.
One of the other meetings the president held was with the United Envoy, the United States team, and the possibility of returning loot amounting to almost 108 billion Nigerian naira traced to former head of state General Sani Abacha. How soon are those recoveries likely to land in the coffers of the federal government?
It's the law that is the problem. And, actually the money is not exactly in the United States, but in Jersey, in the island of Jersey. And as at the last time, I know that President Muhammadu Buhari and the U.S. President have agreed that their lawyers, their attorneys general, would sit down and agree on how this money will be repatriated to Nigeria. My sense is that those discussions have been concluded a long time ago, and when will the money land on our coffers? Perhaps the Attorney General of the Federation is in the best position to say.
Let me take you back to the issue of Aramco, the petroleum sector, and the interventions and what the president discussed. Are there possibility of a repair of our refineries in the works based on the conversation that the president has had? And what are the timelines?
We have, this council will come into place in 2 months. They will start sitting in 2 months, which in effect means that we will be making the appointments as soon as in the coming days, and then they will decide when this work will begin. It could be about refineries, it could be some others. I think that the big thing we are eyeing is the gas pipeline that will bring the enormous gas access of the country, up country. The government has approved the construction of the AKK pipeline that is Ajaokuta, Abuja, Kaduna, Kano. We'll be looking for money for that. The Saudis will be eyeing that, but the Saudis would be eyeing investments in oil and gas and also non-oil sectors. So the opportunities are enormous, and it's for us to say which way to go.
Is the country asking for any loan in all of these conversations?
Oh, this is certainly not going to be free money. When you are talking to the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Saudi Arabia, with enormous powers to the chairman, as we said in that piece you read, that's somebody who can decide to put $5 billion in a country in a month, and so therefore it isn't going to be free. They will be investing. There could be partnerships. There could be loans. Again, it's a matter of time. Discussions that we will undertake will determine how we go.
The president has made some handful trips in the last few months since May that he got into office. Mr. Shehu, this is a breakdown of the president's recent trips, about 7 of them. And a lot of Nigerians are looking at the gains of this and perhaps looking forward to how this amount into food on the table of an average Nigerian. But let me quickly ask you, is the vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is this the substantive acting president as we speak, as the president transmitted a written document to inform the Senate that he's traveling on a vacation, because we know that he's in the UK for 2 weeks for a private visit?
Well, you put in so much in this. The president's trips are not pleasure trips. They are not sightseeing trips. They are justified by outcomes. And in each of those trips, we try to let Nigerians know what are the things that the president has achieved. And so therefore, we are making progress. The economy needs the trips because much of it actually comes on account of who the president is. All of these things from Saudi Arabia and all of that, look, they're looking at the man and they say, look, that's the serious man. We want to do business with him. So I think that Nigerians should comfort themselves in the fact that they have a president who is respected around the globe and in who the name of whom can fetch a lot of good things for Nigeria. The president is on a private trip outside the country, partly on vacation, partly at work. The Constitution of Nigeria is very clear that 21 days is a period of absence which cannot be justified, in which case, if the trip is up to or beyond 21 days, the president of Nigeria must remit a letter to the National Assembly and get, if it is a governor, that is the story. In this instance, Mr. President is away for 17 days. In fact, he will be doing government work from where he is. He tomorrow will be signing an important bill for the country from where he is. And that tells you that he's hands-on, even when he's outside the country.
Thank you so much, Malam Garba Shehu, for clearing the air and talking to us about the gains of the president and his visits. Thank you so much for talking to us. Malam Garba Shehu is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity. Thank you so much. Well, that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Wakimale. Enjoy the rest of the evening.